Have you ever wondered what makes bodies tick? Are you creating the sexual reality you desire and require? Would you like to know more about what else is possible with bodies? What if your fantasies are not as strange as you thought they were? What if you could learn to be kinder to your body and kinder to others' bodies? Would you like to create confidence in the bedroom and beyond? How has your sex life or lack of it affected other areas of your life? Have you lost your mojo and wondered where to find it? Everyone has the potency to be a sexual superhero. Get ready to listen, sense, and play with the sexualness that is you. Now, here is the host of The Pleasure Zone, Body Whisperer, Milica Jelenic.
Hello, everyone. Welcome to The Pleasure Zone. I'm your host, Milica Jelenic, and tonight I'm really excited to be talking to you guys about this topic called Please Don't Yuck My Yum. And one of the things about this topic is that I've noticed so many places in my life where I have allowed others to yuck my yum, and then it stopped something. So I'm actually going to use that as my way to talk to you about my background. So, growing up, I was this totally curious kid, and a lot of things that I did were things that other people were like, that's weird, you're strange, or my family was strange. But everything that I liked in life seemed to be yucked by a lot of other people. One of the things that I remember particularly getting yucked over was the clothes I would wear and the things I would do with my body, movement, whatever. So it's kind of curious and interesting that I choose now to actually work with bodies. I do some somatic body work that actually gently aligns the spine so that you can have greater ease in your body. And the coolest thing about having greater ease in your body is that you actually end up with greater ease in all areas of your life, even if you're in a wheelchair, if you have greater ease in your body, you can have so much more fun in all areas of your life. So this doesn't exclude people who are, say, in wheelchairs or whatever. I'm mentioning that because in a few weeks I'm actually going to have a show called Sex on Wheels, and my guest is going to be somebody who was in a terrible, well, it's just my point of view, was in a life-changing accident and now is a survivor of that accident. She lived through it, and she's thriving and has a thriving sex life. So how does it get any better than that? So, yes, not even tragedies can get you off of your pleasure, of course. So that the thing about when people do yuck your yum, sometimes you'll take their point of view and it'll stop you. So for a long time in my life too, I allowed my father's point of view, my mother's point of view, and my friends' points of view, so-called friends, so-called family members, to influence me a lot, to the point where, I went to university and got a degree. I got a degree in psychology, which I get is a contribution to my life now. Though what I was truly desiring to do at the time was be a veterinarian. And not that I couldn't go back now and do that. I just have chosen not to take that path right now. So, but at the time, I had so much resistance to my choice that I actually pretzeled my life and my desires to meet the desires of family members so that I, would not have to put up with whatever arguments or whatever was coming at me, right? So it wasn't super fun. But I have over the years gotten some tools, and I've been able to start to step more into what works for me. So right in this 10 seconds, what works for me is working with bodies, doing somatic body work, doing energy work, working with people, facilitating them to have great ease. All of that works for me. That's fun for me. So this is what I offer in my private practice. If you have listened to my shows, love them, and wondered, how do I get a little one-on-one time with that crazy girl? You can get a little one-on-one time with that crazy girl by going to my website, MILICAJELENIC.com, milicajelenic.com. You can go scroll down on my front page and find out my availability and book a session with me. So I'd love to speak with you. I'd love to contribute to you. So whether it's in person or over, Skype or whatever. So many ways to have more contact and have sessions. So isn't that fun? So for one of the things that really kind of started to trigger this topic for me was that I recently joined this company, which is called Pure Romance. So I joined this company because I thought, hey, this looks like fun. This looks like a lot of fun to be able to offer people pleasure toys to enhance their lives in the bedroom and beyond, for people who have, say, never had an orgasm and, just required a little assistance, like maybe a vibrator or whatever, a little lube, who knows what it was. Whatever that happens to be, it's really fun for me to offer some options for that. So feel free to check out that site as well. That's pureromance.ca/Milica Jelenic. You can find me on there. You can find that link also on my website under affiliate products. So how fun is that? It's just so fun for me to be able to offer those things to people. And the reason I'm mentioning that, A, because I get to, it's my show, and B, because I was watching a video by one of the people who do Pure Romance, and she used that line, "Don't yuck somebody else's yum." And I was like, you know what? That is such a great line. So kudos to her. That belongs to her, I think. I'm not sure who it belongs to, but I love it. And it speaks so much to what people actually do, and especially when it comes to intimacy and physical intimacy. There's a lot of times where people will yuck each other's yum, and that can really be like heartbreaking in relationships. It can create like a weird energy between people who may have been friends and then maybe they aren't anymore after, you get looked at in a funny way when you say, "Yes, I really like anal sex," and your friend's like, "You're disgusting. I need to get away from you." So maybe they weren't friends to begin with. But so one of the things I would like to give you guys as a tool, if you find yourself going into that whole like, "Oh, gross, I can't believe that person likes that. Oh my God, they like being peed on. Oh my God." A lot of the yuck of the yum isn't just from fetishes, really. Like what I'm aware of is people yuck each other's yum all the time, just because they're not in allowance. So what is this thing, allowance? If you've listened to my show before, if you've listened to other shows on this station, you might have noticed people use this word allowance. It's not the money you get when you're a kid, when you're doing your chores. It's not that. It could be for you, but it's actually what I'm talking about is something that's a little different than acceptance. And acceptance would be like, "Oh, you like anal sex, fine, I get it. I think you're gross and whatever." That's like acceptance. I'll hang out with you even though. That's an acceptance. Allowance is like, interesting choice. Interesting. So, okay, interesting point of view. You have the point of view that works for you. Okay, cool. So what else is possible? It's a different energy and it's a different way of being with people so that you're not stopping the energy, which does show up when you're yucking somebody's yum, and you could be lasering that energy at their head, or at their body and being. And once you've done that, sometimes people who don't have maybe any training in energy work, and even those of us who have training in energy work, we sometimes don't get it right away that we bought somebody else's point of view and we stop dead in our tracks. So, stopping dead in your tracks can really create a lot of, frustration possibly in your life, hesitation, slows down the energy, slows you down, might create a lot more judgment of yourself too, judgment of the other. Oh, dare they say that about me? All that sort of thing. And it's like if we had some allowance for each other, it's like, oh, cool, interesting point of view. You like anal sex. Cool, interesting point of view. Do you want to go get something to eat now? Cool. Where it could be like, oh my God, you like anal sex? All right. And then the other person, you can see in the other person that they're actually squashing themselves. They're doing this thing where they're kind of contracting. So I don't know if you're aware or not aware, or if this is your first taste into anything that has to do with consciousness. And if it is, welcome. What a cool choice. You're so cool. You're cool even if it's not the first time you've ever done anything with consciousness. You're just so cool. So, you can notice when you're being an energy, and you can notice when an energy is coming at you or is present, whether it's directed at you or whether, say, you're just in a room where there's a lot of judgment or a lot of people going, yuck. I don't know, when I was a kid too, there was a lot of that was going on. So I didn't have these tools to work with as a kid. I think my first tool to use was fight back and kick some butt, or cry. Fight or cry. It was like, those were my two go-tos. So I didn't really do a lot of the, interesting point of view. They have that point of view about me. Now, had I, who knows what would be available. So if any teenagers, kids, or whatever are listening, thanks parents for allowing it, because I do, as much as my shows sometimes have, profanity in them, I still like to be able to reach a larger crowd, and because everybody's body can have pleasure, and even kids really, they don't even want to have somebody yucking their yummy stuff that's going on, If my daughter, for example, is made something and it makes her really, really happy, she's a bit of a little artist. You can check her page out on Facebook, Ziva Hilton Jelenic. You can like her. She'd love to be liked. She loves getting more likes on Facebook and loves having her artwork looked at and admired. And when people do kind of like give her the big deal to her artwork, I see her shrink a little, right? So the thing is, I have some tools that I can give her. Now, it's still her choice whether she uses them or not. She doesn't always use them, but it's still her choice, and I have that available to me to give to her. So one of the tools I would often give to her is like, is what that person's saying true? And she'll often say that it is, because, she just agrees with stuff often. And then I'll say, okay, so if it's true, is it working for you and does it make you happy? And then she might be like, oh, it doesn't make me happy. So the thing is, what's true for you is light, and what's not true for you is heavy. So if it doesn't work for you, discard it. It's garbage for you. It might work for me. It might not work for somebody else. Just like yucking somebody's yum, just because it's light for somebody else doesn't mean it's going to be light for you. Just because it's heavy for you doesn't mean it's going to be heavy for somebody else. Same kind of concept. So my daughter, getting back to her, she loves to have people acknowledge her, just like anybody else. And I'm just going to use her as an example. I recently put a picture of hers up on Facebook, and I didn't tell her about it. I know she loves the picture, and she gave it to her auntie for her birthday. And I know she loves it. She's telling me she loved it when she made it, and I love it. It's one of my favorite pieces so far that she's created, and how much more cool and fun can she have creating more art. And when she came home and I said, Ziva, you've got like 50 something likes on your picture, she lit up like a little light bulb. She was so thrilled that people really enjoy her work. And it's like just such a contribution to be kind, right? Just like, how fun is it? You give a kid a like and it makes her day, right? So it's really true for adults too. Give an adult a like and it makes their day too. And if you don't like it, do interesting point of view. You had a point of view. You might start to find out that you actually like a lot of things you didn't think you liked. So We're going to go to commercial break now, and when we come back, we're going to talk a little bit more about the yuck and the yum and what we can do with that.
Many of us have created a lot of limitations around sex and what we are willing to choose. Would you be willing to explore what has already been introduced as sexual practices on this planet? What else is possible beyond what we have already seen, heard, or thought of? What if now is the time for a totally different sexual revolution? Taking the taboo out of all aspects of sex, sexuality, and copulation. By tuning into the Pleasure Zone radio show with body whisperer Milica Jelenic, you'll receive tools, inspiration, and a foundation to allow yourself to receive more in your sex life, and quite possibly other areas of your life as well. Listen for The Pleasure Zone with Milica every Monday at 8 p.m. Eastern Time, 7 p.m. Central Time, 6 p.m. Mountain Time, and 5 p.m. Pacific Time on a2zen.fm.
What if there's nothing wrong with you? What if you're far greater than you've ever given yourself credit for? What if it's time to know the gift and the contribution you are to the world and to like yourself a lot more? Hi, my name is Dane here. 13 years ago, I started to truly ask questions. Actually, I started to be the question, and everything changed for me. Asking questions opens doors to infinite possibilities. And it's not about finding the answer. It's about being the question. Always. What I'm inviting you to step into is something that Einstein, Marie Curie, Newton, Da Vinci, Gandhi, Picasso, and Aristotle all knew to be true. What if no question is too big or too small? What if anything is possible for you? What if together we could create a kinder, gentler, happier world? Is now the time? Go to beingyouclass.com and sign up for a free video series, My Gift to You. beingyouclass.com. What if you, truly being you, are the gift and change this world requires? beingyouclass.com.
This is the Pleasure Zone with body whisperer Milica Jelenic. To participate in the program today, please call us in the U.S. Call 815-880-8255-TALK or Canada 613-800-8736. Or you can Skype us at a2zen.fm. You can also make the choice to ask for comment by email by sending to Milica at milicajelenic.com. Now, back to the program.
Hello, everyone, and welcome back to the Pleasure Zone. I'm your host, Milica Jelenic, and tonight the topic is Please Don't Yuck My Yum. And when we were in commercial break, I was just kind of recalling so many places in my life where I might have really allowed myself to get really vulnerable and then say something that was maybe it was a really vulnerable thing for me to say. I know that kids do this to each other because, kids are strange and interesting creatures. I remember as a little kid, I had this huge crush on this boy in grade 1. I had a crush on him for years and years, and I just adored him. And I remember that when somebody found out about it and teased me for it, I just felt like my whole world fell apart. Instead of going, wow, that's so cool. What a beautiful being you are, that you can see the beauty in somebody else. Like, how cool are you? And no, I didn't get that. I got the more like, oh my God, you like so-and-so, ha ha. And then so-and-so found out, and then he was embarrassed because whatever, I don't know why, I never asked. But it was like one of those moments where you kind of remember that, people are not so kind. And when you are, so what I'm aware of is, you can be vulnerable all the time. You can have your barriers down at all times. And also being aware of what you share with people and being aware of what you're able to receive as a response and what they're able to receive from you. So if a person can't receive from you, like that you admire something or that you're, something turns you on or something is your pleasure zone, then, if they can't receive that, they're going to be that, gross look, and it might start to contract your world a little bit. So one of the things is practicing awareness. Like before you, get into that, you can go, that's an interesting point of view. So if it's already hit you and you've already went, oh my God, I must be so weird. What's going on? I feel awful and terrible. Then then you can actually go, wow, stop whatever that is, just stop. And who does that belong to? Like, who does that thought, feeling, or emotion belong to? That feeling of like your whole world is contracting, like what is that? Where is that coming from? What did you buy? Like, what lie did you buy that allowed that to show up? So I really encourage you to like question everything. Question me, question this information, question all of it. Take what you like, leave the rest. And what I wonder too is, how many of us stopped actually liking the things we liked so that we could fit in with whatever everybody else likes. Another example from my daughter is that before she went to school, I had her homeschooled for the first year of kindergarten, and then she went off to senior kindergarten of her own volition. She chose it and chose the school. And when she got to school, a lot of her taste buds magically and miraculously changed. So the things that she was loving, like she was loving mushrooms, loved them. She loved all kinds of like hummus and all kinds of food that had flavor in it. And now she's reported to me several times that please don't send that to school with me. The kids make fun of me for eating this or that or this or that. And I'm like, wow. Well, so I try my best not to send that and remember the list, which is ever growing. Because right now she's not working her tools to be able to use it. So until she does choose to use some tools and basically go, screw all of you, this works for me and I like this food, then, it's until she chooses that, it's like, now what can I be for her that will allow her to just like, secretly like mushrooms instead of having to like them at school, right? So a lot of your stuff is just for you, just for fun. Never tell anyone. So, even if that means liking mushrooms and you find that you're around people who are like, oh my God, that's disgusting. I can't believe you like mushrooms. I don't know about you, but I know me. In most of my life, when people have done that sort of thing, I was like, oh, okay, yeah, I just really want to be liked. So I'm going to give it up. I'm going to just give up my liking of mushrooms so that I can fit in with you, so I can have friends, so I can have communion. Because what I truly desire is communion. And if we're liking different things, then that means I don't have communion with you. And I know I've tried my darndest in life to like align myself with other people's stuff, and it's really truly new for me in the last couple of years that it stopped mattering to me. So I did not make other people's opinions or thoughts or feelings about me as significant. I'm not saying I'm completely over it. There are times when it's like a stab in the heart and I'm still like, oh my God, I can't believe that I just said that to somebody and now I feel a little like heart squashed and heartbroken that I wasn't received. So I'd really like you guys to ask, like, can this person receive me? Truth, can this person actually receive what I have to say? Like Ziva going to school, she's aware that the kids in her class can't receive her love of mushrooms. So we're just not going to send them to school. Oh, the other one was olives. Like she likes olives at home, but not at school. So I'm aware of the people that she hangs out with as friends, and she is now starting to become more like their eating habits, which is a curiosity to me. I kind of watch it and she has spoken to me a lot about how she would, she wants to fit in. She wants to be with people that like her. It's a really interesting experience to watch her go through that, and also with friendship. She loves putting on clothes, and I'm just using my daughter as an example so that all of you guys can get where this might occur in your life. It occurs in the bedroom as well, but it really occurs in so many places, and that when we start to morph ourselves into other people's realities of what they think is great, cool, fun, and awesome, and we stop acknowledging what's truly fun for us, who are we being? Like, would you be willing to be you all of the time regardless? So if you're not, there are, acknowledge that. Just like, okay, cool. I'm really not at the place where I'm willing to be me all of the time. So in the meantime, I'm aware that kids at school won't be interested in eating mushrooms around them. So I'm going to instead, I'll just eat mushrooms at home when I feel like it. Because I don't have to give them up completely. I can have just for me, just for fun moments with any of it. So, for example, let's translate that into other areas of our lives. Friendships, clothing. I do remember, too, myself, a kid, that I would wear dresses to school all the time. I loved wearing summer dresses, even in the winter. I live in Canada, so, in our area of Canada, we got a lot of snow. It was cold. And I would put on snow pants under my super summery dresses and a sweater. Like, I would layer it up. But I was really happy in these summer dresses. And my mom was really cool about it. She was also really exhausted and had no desire to fight with me, and I was incredibly stubborn. And that was one of my gifts. I know what I liked, and I knew then what I liked. It didn't really start, like, most of my life, I liked it, and I didn't give a flying tart what other people thought until I got a little older, around puberty. And then I really cared, and I really wanted to fit in, and I really didn't feel like I fit in. Before that, I was, ready to fight, be angry, run away, or cry, and didn't really feel like I had friends anyway. But I actually wonder about that, too, like how many people even have friends truly. Do you have a friend before you're maybe 16 or 17? That's a side note. But, what is it, when you look at your life, what were you like as a kid? Were you actually somebody who would morph yourself like my daughter does? Would you morph yourself into what other people liked, or did you know what worked for you? So even for me as a kid, I was very aware of what worked for my body, very clearly. And every time that I would be convinced I was wrong, or I was told you have to eat that or you won't get the thing you desire, like eating was used as a tool for withholding. It was like a punishment, and it was also like a bonus. So I did a lot of crazy things in order to get what I wanted. I would say eat things that I knew made me feel really sick, and I would avoid eating sometimes completely just because I really was like, I will not eat that fish stew for 3 days in a row. It's not going to happen. Yeah, I'd rather starve to death. So my stubbornness didn't often pay off because in a lot of ways my mom was stubborn with food but stubborn with clothes. So the stubbornness with food didn't pay off. And that was always an interesting experience. So that's another place, where people yuck there's yums too. So clothing, food, relationships. The food and clothing part for me was the first most obvious ones that I came across, because I wasn't having like relationships so much until, the girl fights in school, like, she's my best friend, can't believe you're friends with her, oh my god, if you're friends with her, I can't be friends with you. We're so cute and we're so into exclusion, and it's quite a lot of cruelty, really, when it comes down to it. There isn't a lot of kindness in this yucking other people's yums. It's really, truly unwilling to see what works in their world for them. Like, instead of going, oh my god, I can't believe you do that, you're like, you could actually go, wow, your universe is so different than my universe. That's really cool. Your world is completely different than mine. I wonder what it would be like if I stepped into your world for a second. Maybe that would expand your world. Are they being an invitation to you to choose more, or choose something different, or choose more of you? And you're refusing it by doing your, yuck. Because refusal oftentimes is one of those things where if you really look at it, there's something in there for you that if you were to choose it could change your life. So what are you refusing that if you were to choose it could change your life? What if you were to yum somebody else's yuck, or, instead of going yuck, go yum. So whatever I'm talking about. How about if we go to commercial break now, and when we come back, there's going to be more conversation about this and see where it goes related to copulation and adult conversations about this when we come back.
Many of us have created a lot of limitations around sex and what we are willing to choose. Would you be willing to explore what has already been introduced as sexual practices on this planet? What else is possible beyond what we have already seen, heard, or thought of? What if now is the time for a totally different sexual revolution? Taking the taboo out of all aspects of sex, sexuality, and copulation. By tuning into the Pleasure Zone radio show with body whisperer Milica Jelenic, you'll receive tools, inspiration, and a foundation to allow yourself to receive more in your sex life, and quite possibly other areas of your life as well. Listen for The Pleasure Zone with Milica every Monday at 8 p.m. Eastern Time, 7 p.m. Central Time, 6 p.m. Mountain Time, and 5 p.m. Pacific Time on a2zen.fm.
What would you say if I told you that you could change your life in only 1 hour and all while lying down relaxing? Thousands of people all over the world have. What am I talking about? It's called Access Consciousness, the bars. The bars is an energetic body process that contains 32 different points on your head that, when run, assist you in releasing decisions about any area of your life that you have made solid and as a result cannot change. The bars is the first class in Access Consciousness, a dynamic set of tools and information designed to transform any area of your life. When you have a bars session, the worst that can happen is you feel like you had a fantastic massage. The best thing that can happen is your whole life could change. Go to accessconsciousness.com today to find a facilitator to schedule a private session or to find a bars class in your area. Are you willing to give yourself an hour to change your life?
This is the Pleasure Zone with body whisperer Milica Jelenic. To participate in the program today, please call us in the U.S. Call 815-880-8255-TALK or Canada 613-800-8736. Or you can Skype us at a2zen.fm. You can also make the choice to ask for comment by email by sending to Milica at milicajelenic.com. Now, back to the program.
Hello, everyone. Welcome to the Pleasure Zone. I'm your host, Milica Jelenic, and tonight the topic is Please Don't Yuck My Yum. I get that this topic is maybe one that is very different than the topics I've talked about on this show, where I sometimes give instruction. Luckily, there's been no video because we could get arrested for that. But, some of those more instructional videos, this is more like, a thing where I really like to get down to this conversation, because to me, a lot of this is where bullying can start. It's where people are like, oh, you're gross, or you're da-da-da, and that's yucking somebody completely for what they like, generally, Oh my God, you're wearing that dress. Can't believe you. You're so weird. You're such a freak. Got that most of my life, that I was a freak. Now I can appreciate it more. And have fun with it. Even still, though, there are still times where it's a little heartbreaking, right? But it's really different when you are with people who are a little more aware, not always very aware, but they will do it less. They will judge you less. They will, So for me, I love puppets too. So, and some people are like, oh my God, you're such a freak for loving puppets. I'm like, okay, cool. Now I can just laugh it off because I don't really give a care about that. And I am aware there are still areas where it's very sensitive to me. It's a very vulnerable space for me. And I know that I still have that. And I know those are things in life that there are very few people I would talk to about it, probably not bring it up on the radio show. Or maybe I would bring it up on the radio show because this is a different kind of platform, and it's you either listen or you don't, and maybe I have done that already. It's really one of those things where it's when you have certain vulnerabilities and you're not really ready to let them out, You don't have to. It's just a choice. Thing is, if you start to be aware of it, it's like, oh wow, if I say this, somebody's going to go ugh to me and go, you're such a freak. Then don't show them. Don't show them what it is you like. Don't tell them what it is you like. Just be aware. Be aware of who you're talking to, who you're talking with. It's really funny. Like, even growing up, I liked all kinds of guys, and I know I got teased a lot for it. And one of the boys I liked when I was in grade 8 was really tiny. So I've been 5'11" most of my life. And one of the things that I found was most guys were shorter than me. And one of the guys I did like was a lot shorter than me. And so people would tease me about it because I made I wanted to have friends. So I made friends with the unkind girls who would tease the crap out of me for everything and anything. They'd be like, well, if you just tell me this, we'll be friends. And I bought that lie, hook, line, and sinker so many times, which was so weird to me because never in my life did I actually say to somebody, oh, just tell me this and then turn around and stab them in the back or make fun of them. It wasn't something that I was choosing. It blew my mind. People did it to me. It blew my mind that anybody would do it. So I wasn't aware of it. The thing is, when you're not willing to be an energy, you can see it coming at you. So it doesn't mean you have to be a jerk, or it doesn't mean you have to be unkind to people. But if you're willing to see kindness coming, or the reaction that could be coming of, oh, really? Then you can know that it's coming and not tell those people. So I really like to look at this too from a relationship place. Say relationships moved along. The dating scene is an interesting one. Let's start there. So with the dating scene, and we've got these apps out now like Tinder, different dating apps. I've honestly never been on a dating site, so I can't remember all the names of them, like Go Fish or Plenty of Fish or some card game like that. Anyway, there's a bunch of them. So if you're on those, Tinder I'm aware of because I've actually watched people use this app before. And what it is there's this automatic response. So people will look at the picture and go yuck or yum immediately. Now I've actually been in a room where there's several people sitting around and they're looking at each other's app, and they'll actually tell the person, oh, say no to that, say yes to that, say no to that. There isn't a conscious question going on. It's not like, would it be a contribution to my life to engage in a conversation with this person? There's none of that going on. There's just a lot of yes, no, yes, no. How fast can you move your thumb to get to the next one, to the next one, to the next one? So, these dating apps are completely based on not just algorithms, but algorithms that are based on judgments. So first we have judgments, then we put algorithms in place to reinforce the judgments. Aren't we adorable? And then we wonder why, we're walking around a world where people are judging the crap out of each other and judging the crap out of, people's, what pleases each other too. So, you could judge somebody's career too. For example, you could yuck their yum of their career. We'll just use an example of like a toilet cleaner, because most people would go, oh, that's disgusting, instead of going, wow, that person's a contribution to my life. Like, I have an amazing woman who cleans my home once a month, makes my life way easier, and I get to have a few hours to not think about cleaning my house. And I've never once thought, oh my God, you get to do my disgusting jobs. And I think more along the lines of, wow, what a gift she is that I can actually have some time to myself, and how lucky am I that she's in my life, that she'll come and do this for me. Where other people would be like, oh, I hate doing that job, so I'm going to get you to do it. It's kind of like saying, I hate it and I don't like it, so I want you to do what I hate. What the hell is that saying to people? Like, anything I've ever hired somebody to do is mostly just to create more time for me. It's not that I don't like the job or I think it's disgusting. It's that like, wow, I just would like some more time, please, thank you. So being aware of that too, where you're putting those judgments on people for what makes them happy. And the person who cleans my house is amazing at it. If she doesn't enjoy her job, you wouldn't know because she's so good at it. And, she has this amazing capacity to clear while she's clearing your house. And it's just who she is. It's not something that she's trained in. So how freaking lucky am I, right? And it's really interesting because a lot of people would judge that job of, the house cleaner, the toilet cleaner, the even, the vet who has to stick his hand into an animal's anus, checking the colons out. Oh, gross, I wouldn't do that. It's a disgusting job. Well, it's not, right? And there are actually jobs. There are people who have the craziest jobs. I'm going to say crazy because they're jobs you might not even realize that there are careers for. There are people who assist animals with sperm to be able to reproduce more animals. So there are people who will masturbate animals to get the semen collection so that they can inject it into other animals. Like, not a job you often think about having. And I'm bringing this up because I know that it's going to bring a lot of yuck, what the hell into people's worlds. And basically so that you can go, wow, and the kindness that they are being to be able to perpetuate the genetic, especially for some animals where they're trying to keep purity of lineage. So, it's like if you need a dog that's got, you want a purebred or something, but the only way you can do is that you get the sperm. Well, I don't know whose job it is, but there are people who actually do this as a job. So, that's a completely sideline note, but I do get that would be one of the things that would bring up a lot of yuck in most people's universes. So I had to bring it up just to get a little thing in there, just to get you thinking. And there are other areas too where we do this, oh, yuck to that, we might not even know we're doing it. So really, to me, this is all about becoming more aware of how we be with other people, how we be even with ourselves. And then if you are doing a yuck thing to yourself, ask, if I didn't have a point of view about this, what would I choose? So sometimes if you don't even have a point of view, it'd be like, yeah, okay, cool. I'm going to masturbate that animal and get the sperm that's required in order to reproduce more animals. Okay, I can do that. That's something I can do. And, if you didn't have a point of view, maybe you could do it. But if you have a million points of view in place, then maybe you can't. So a lot of this yucking somebody else's yum is like, if you didn't have a point of view, what would you choose? If you didn't have a point of view about what is sexy, if you didn't have a point of view about what body type or what size, what shape, what height, what smell, if you didn't have a point of view about what about that was sexy, what would you choose? What would turn you on? And I bet you a spanking person if I ever see you, just because I'm sure Joy a spank for me. I bet you a spanking person that if you actually went to, if I didn't have a point of view, would I choose this? You would start to find out that you actually probably like way more bodies than you thought you did, that way more things turn you on, that a lot of things don't make a yuck in your world, that, you actually are kind of like, that's an interesting choice. You might find that you aren't as judgmental as you think you are, and you might find that you are actually far better at dealing with judgment than you thought you were. So if you had no point of view, what would your life be like? And that's really one question you can just kind of ask. Well, if I had no point of view here, what would I choose? What would I be? Who would I be? Where would I go? What would I do? And I'm pretty darn sure you're going to surprise yourself time and again. And so when it comes to stuff in the bedroom, ask those questions as well. If I didn't have a point of view, what would I choose? So next time you are actually, going to go have fun in the sun, fun in the bedroom, fun in the bathroom, fun on the dining room table, fun outside, fun on your motorbike, wherever you're going to have your fun, ask, if I didn't have a point of view, what would I choose? You might actually find you're a bit of a voyeur or a bit of an exhibitionist, all kinds of stuff that you didn't know about yourself. If you really started to ask, if you didn't have a point of view, what would you choose? So on that note, I'm going to take you guys to a commercial break. When we come back, we're going to get a little bit more deeper into some stuff about copulation, sex, and yuck and yum.
Many of us have created a lot of limitations around sex and what we are willing to choose. Would you be willing to explore what has already been introduced as sexual practices on this planet? What else is possible beyond what we have already seen, heard, or thought of? What if now is the time for a totally different sexual revolution? Taking the taboo out of all aspects of sex, sexuality, and copulation. By tuning into the Pleasure Zone radio show with body whisperer Milica Jelenic, you'll receive tools, inspiration, and a foundation to allow yourself to receive more in your sex life, and quite possibly other areas of your life as well. Listen for The Pleasure Zone with Milica every Monday at 8 p.m. Eastern Time, 7 p.m. Central Time, 6 p.m. Mountain Time, and 5 p.m. Pacific Time on a2zen.fm.
What if you really do change molecules by your interaction with them? What if the change you've been looking for is right before your eyes? What if the uncomfortableness that comes with difference could be fun? What if the closed-minded people of the world no longer determined our world? What if gratitude trumps judgment every time? What if your kindness healed the world? What if the earth is asking for your help? And what if you had the resources to give it? This is your invitation to step into something that Einstein, Marie Curie, Picasso, Da Vinci, Shakespeare, Aristotle all knew to be true. Hi, my name is Dane here. 13 years ago I started to truly ask questions. Actually, I started to be the question, and everything changed for me. What if there are no dumb questions? Or any question too large? What if you being you are the gift and the change this world requires? Is now the time? For more questions to create a change in your world, sign up for a free video series at beingyouclass.com. My gift to you, beingyouclass.com.
This is The Pleasure Zone with body whisperer Milica Jelenic. To participate in the program today, please call us in the U.S. Call 815-880-8255-TALK or Canada 613-800-8736. Or you can Skype us at a2zen.fm. You can also make the choice to ask for comment by email by sending to Milica at milicajelenic.com. Now, back to the program.
Hello, everyone. Welcome to the Pleasure Zone. I'm your host, Milica Jelenic. And tonight the conversation is, please don't yuck my yum. And I don't have a view about what any of you guys do. Like, if you choose it, that's cool. I know I have some preferences still, and I know I still have some points of view about things like, for example, I have a point of view about being pooped on during sex. I've never chosen it, and luckily for me, I've never had anybody ask me to do that to them or to do it to me. So I know I have that point of view, and I might give that yuck face, and I'd have to be really aware of it and kind of go, okay, wait, before I, give a response that would possibly like just crush the person. So that, which is like never what I'm trying to create, is I'm not trying to create crushing people or putting a point of view in their universe, puts them into a beyond. Sometimes into a beyond that gets them thinking, not so much in a beyond that stops them from creating or choosing. So the don't yuck my yum for me is like, you can really get into some nitty gritty areas where you start to get that, yeah, you would yuck that, or you would be like, so I encourage you to kind of look at that so that you can get the energy of, okay, well, if I didn't have a point of view, would I choose it? Oh, well, I wouldn't choose it, but I also wouldn't have like this reflexive reaction that makes me look like I'm puking. So, that's another thing too. You can just be like, oh yeah, that's another thing. Yeah, that's, you don't have to be like, oh my God, I'm going to vomit. So all these ways in our lives that we're doing this to ourselves, to each other, that we've received it, and all the ways that we've actually used that energy of yuck to stop us. I'd really like to become more aware of it. I'd like to become more aware of it myself. And I'd like to choose something different. I'd like to really choose to be more conscious in the moment and to be able to just acknowledge the person, the being, what works for them, and acknowledge what works for me and what is a preference and what is a point of view, what is the difference. A preference is like, I prefer to eat, breakfast at a table. My point of view is not that you have to, it's the only proper thing to do. It's just my preference. But a point of view would be like, this is right or this is wrong. So I also, before we go today, we've just got a few minutes left, and I don't have anybody discussing with me their yuck and their yum right now, so I've got a couple more minutes to just kind of really give you some more tools, remind you of the tools you can use. So interesting point of view is one of the tools. Who does it belong to? Your point of view anyway. Who does it belong to in the long run? And if you were truly being you, what would you choose? If I were being me, what would I choose? If I had no point of view, what would I choose? Those are all great questions to ask when you notice that energy that you just want to go, about something or to someone. So before I go, I just wanted to let you guys also know that I will be offering a lot of different classes coming in the future. So I'd really like you to check my website that I recently just redid. I actually looked at my website recently and kind of went, I kind of yucked my own website. And then I went, okay, well, if I'm yucking it, what am I picking up on? How many other people are looking at it and going, bleh? Sometimes you'll become aware of that too. If you look at a piece of clothing on yourself and you're like, hey, I used to like this shirt, but you're kind of going, bleh, to it, you might notice that there are a lot of points of view that have been projected at it, and you're picking that up. So if you clear your points of view of something and the energy is still like, I'd like to change it, then go for it, so please do that, because a lot of times there are a lot of points of views that have been projected at all kinds of things: bodies, clothing, food, sexual organs, for sure. There's a lot of that. I have a lot of conversations with women, and women tend to be almost more cruel than men, where they're like, oh, yuck, that penis is too small, or oh, yuck, that was this, or oh, I'm like, wow, the cruelty. I'm like, this is so unkind. Would you just be willing to have no point of view and receive the person? I've heard it less from men. Most men I've talked to are like, yay, woman, there's a body, she's naked, I'm happy, yay. There may be something that gets them turned off, but it's, or maybe I just know men that are really turned on by everything. Maybe that's what it is. And women who have a lot of judgments. I'm not sure. It's possible. So if you're hanging out with those people who are judging everything you say as like yuck, and you find you're still kicking around, maybe, just maybe, you'd like to look at that. Is it working for you? Friendship's working for you to be around people who are always yucking your yum. Would you like to choose different? If you had no point of view, who would you hang out with? If you had no point of view, where would you be instead of, where would you be? Maybe it is with them, maybe it isn't. So what I do know, though, is that we always have choice, and you can choose to tell people stuff, and you can not to tell people stuff. So if you are aware that you're like about to give yourself a little sadness or hurt your own feelings, and you like hurting your own feelings, choose it. But if you don't like hurting your own feelings, stop it. Don't do it. Choose something else. So thank you all so much for listening to this wild and wacky episode of Please Don't Yuck My Yum on the Pleasure Zone. I look forward to being with you guys next week with another episode.
Thank you for choosing to listen to The Pleasure Zone. Milica Jelenic will return next Monday at 8 p.m. Eastern Time, 7 p.m. Central, 6 p.m. Mountain, and 5 p.m. Pacific on a2zen.fm. We hope you'll join us. Until then, have the best week of your life by choosing to be turned on and tuned in to your body.